When you purchase a property, you need to show proof of deposit. So in today's episode, we'll be going over what documents you'll need to provide to show proof of deposit when purchasing a property. Hello, welcome back to our channel and podcast. My name is Gemma, and here at WS we talk about all things relating to money, mortgages and positive money mindset. So if that interests you, then be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the thumbs up. It really helps with our YouTube algorithm and means that you won't miss out on any of our videos. On today's episode of Let's Talk Money and Mortgages, we have Ifti joining us once again. And for those of you who don't know Ifti is a trained accountant and mortgage advisor who has been in the industry for over 11 years. And he is also one of the founding directors here at WIS. Welcome back, Ifti. How are you doing today?
Hi, Gemma. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Today's episode, we're talking all about proof of deposit. So I think for those people who aren't really sure, let's just kind of talk about what is proof of deposit.
Yeah, so when you buy a property, especially if it's through a mortgage, the lenders as well as the solicitors want to know how much deposit you're putting down, and they want to know how you kind of save that money up, right? So that's kind of what's known as a proof of deposit. So we need to show the lenders as well as the solicitors how that money was made up as a proof of deposit, right? In most cases, it's the money that you have in your savings, right? So that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, all right, Ifti. So today we're going to be talking about what documents are acceptable as proof of deposit. And we've got the first one here is bank statements.
Yeah, I think that's the most simplest one. For majority, that will be that, right? Because people save money in their bank accounts, right? So usually it's a savings account. Some people do have it in a current account. So bank will want to see that statement. So they generally ask for 3 months bank statements. Some banks ask up to about 6 months bank statements, but generally it's 3 months. So looking at the bank statements, banks will be satisfied that deposit can be used. So that's what the banks will mainly look at. But the banks sometimes ask how you made up that money. That's the most important question, right? So let's take an easy example. If somebody is regularly working and say setting aside, say, £500 towards their deposit of buying the house, they will see that to build up over a period of time. So let's say somebody had £10,000. They can show that it has been building up over a period of time. The banks will be satisfied. That's the simplest example that you can use. But sometimes people have business income, dividends, various other things. So banks may need some additional evidence on top of that. But they mainly look at the bank statements, right? See, because that's where people save most of their money. Gone are the days that people have cash at home, right? Because everybody puts the money in the bank, right? So the bank statements are generally the best form of evidence.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one. Some of our customers have gifted deposits, so just wanted to talk through, in regards to a gifted deposit, what documents were acceptable, what they
So
need
gifted
to provide.
deposit, again, is quite common, especially with the first-time buyers. We find that because parents give money to their children, or, siblings give money to their other siblings. So we know with first-time buyers, a lot of them sort of struggle to get into the property ladder, and a lot of them don't have all the savings they required. And, the bank of mom and dad generally comes to the rescue, right? So if mom and dad is giving you the money, you need to prove that it came from mom and dad. So mom and dad has to sign a letter to say that it is a gift. That's why we call it a gifted deposit, right? It is a gift from the parents. Loans are generally not acceptable because loans are something you got to pay back, right? So if it is a pure gift, you need to get that letter from the parents saying that there's no conditions attached. But just be mindful that most banks will also ask evidence of the parents building up that money. So they may require bank statements of the parents as well, right, where the money is being held, right? So if they have sort of savings, if they've been having that for years, that's perfect, right? But again, circumstances may vary, right? So from person to person. So if you do have doubts on these areas, please speak to us or speak to another advisor who can guide you on this one, right? So if you're giving a gifted deposit letter, that may not be enough. You might need statements of your parents or whoever is the donor to give you their statements as well.
Yeah, and we can also help you with drafting the gifted deposit letter, can't we, Ifti?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we have templates that you can use. Most banks use sort of similar templates, but you may have to tweak the template a little bit depending on the bank you use, right? Again, we are open to give you guidance if it's needed.
Getting your mortgage online doesn't have to be complicated. At WIS, our website will help guide you through step by step. Our fully qualified advisors can help you get the most suitable mortgage for you. Then you can relax, safe in the knowledge that WIS are working in the background to get your mortgage approved. WIS. Online mortgages made simple.
Okay, number 3, we've got the foreign remittance, if you're using that as a proof of deposit.
Yeah, I mean, as of late, we have had a lot of foreign nationals who have applied for mortgages, or people who are born in a different country but eventually become British, right? So they sometimes have monies abroad. Sometimes their family has money abroad as well, right? So if they're bringing it down to the UK, that's known as foreign remittances, right? So with foreign remittances, you have to be very careful because banks can be a little strict on this, right? So you have to make sure that you show an audit trail on how the money came to the UK. So what audit trail means is, let's say you have money in your bank account in X country and it's coming to the UK. You just need to show how it came to the UK. So the banks will generally want to see how that money's been built up. If you sort of saved some money some time ago, perfect, that money can be used. So that money, they will want to see it leaving your bank account and they'll want to see it land in your bank account in the UK, right? So you have to show that proof, right? So statements on the other side, statement on this side as well, you'll have to show, right? So that's sort of the best way to do overseas transactions. But be very careful because you need to show audit trail. If not the bank, the solicitors are likely to ask that question on how that money was built up and how it was transferred across, right? Some people say, we can't transfer monies bank to bank. Can we use cash? Generally, cash is not acceptable. But if you have different circumstances, I suggest you speak to an advisor on this for sure.
Okay, moving on to number 4, we got shares. So what documents will you need to provide if you're going to use shares as proof of deposit?
Shares can be a little tricky. Luckily, most of the shares in the UK now, if you're using a broker or a particular company with a platform, you can easily download statements, right? So banks will want to look at those statements.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets tricky because sometimes if you have statements, banks may not accept that because they will want to see the cash come to your bank account, right? Because if it's on your share statement,
I was going to say that.
The value can be different, right? So today's value might be different to tomorrow's value, right? So most of the time, bank will say liquidate the shares, like sell the shares off, take the money and deposit it in the bank account and show it, right? Again, it really depends on the lender. So if you have shares and you want to show that as a deposit, I suggest, speak to advisor because we can guide you based on which bank you're going, because we can have conversations with the bank. Most of the time, we do know what the banks require anyway, right? So because we do have the answers, feel free to contact us or any other advisor who can guide you on this one.
Thanks, Ifti. And then last one is kind of really sort of talking about any alternatives for people who do not have sufficient proof of deposit. What can they do?
Yeah, so I think traditionally, most of the time you need a 10% deposit, right? But what generally happens is sometimes people fall short of this deposit and, they don't have, family assistance and things like that where they can't make up the money, right? There are some schemes out there which may help you, right? These can be alternatives. I'll take something like a lifetime ISA, right? So if you do lifetime ISA, there is a contribution from the government. That's about 25%. They contribute. Don't miss out on that, right? So if you're short of money, that may be a way of collecting money, right? So don't miss out on those opportunities.
But just remember, with an ISA, you have to have it open a year before to use it.
That's right. Yeah,
so
you're
there's
right
a
on
bit
that.
of a time delay. So it
Yeah.
might not be a last minute kind of thing, but definitely if you plan.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, a lot of people, who come to us, they plan in advance. I mean, I'm working with a client just now who's buying a property. We've been talking about it for the last couple of years, right? So it's just come to that stage where he's now saying, okay, I've got everything that I need. Let's go for it, right? So for most people, it's like that. Yeah. And I know some of our subscribers have sort of been following us for a while as well, and especially on this subject, right? First-time buyers, right? So that's one thing. There are other schemes out there. If you don't have a 10% deposit, things like Help to Buy, right? So Help to Buy is a lovely scheme, right? For people buying new properties. You just need a 5% deposit in most cases, right? If the numbers add up, your affordability works, 5% is enough. The government gives you 20%, right, as a part of the deposit. That makes up 25% deposit, right? So those are routes that you can take, right? So that's helpful. And also, there is the government guarantee scheme where 5% mortgages are out there as well. So that is out there for people who want to use it. And banks have also followed suit, looking at what the government's trying to do. Some banks are not part of that scheme, but they are offering 5% deposit schemes. So those can be helpful for people who are a little short of their deposit. That can be used as an alternative, right? One which is sort of gaining popularity is the one I'd like to talk about a little bit more. There is something called a joint borrower sole proprietor scheme, right? So with that, sometimes you might still have a smaller deposit. If your affordability doesn't work, you can get a parent or somebody else who sort of have to join the mortgage with you to help you get the mortgage, right? So that is another solution you have. So that might be an option for you. recently we did 2 transactions where parents were sort of buying properties for their kids who are moving into university, right? So parents helped with the mortgage, kids weren't earning too much, but obviously you know that they will be earning much higher in future. But they did this joint application. The property is purchased on the child's name as the sole proprietor, but it's a joint application. And obviously, you know, you don't pay the additional stamp duty either, right? So that's the beauty of the scheme, right? So you could use a scheme like that as an alternative to help you with the deposit, right? And sort of good news is some of the lenders are now willing to even give up to 6 times your income, right? As income multiples if you want to do a mortgage. So that could be an alternative to your deposit, right? So, you know, in the past, most lenders used to stick to about 4.5 times your income. But we are now finding lenders doing 5.5, 5 times income, and recently I saw 6 times income as well, right? So those can be used as alternatives. You might have a small deposit, but that could boost you, right? So there are a lot of schemes out there to help out, especially the first time buyers, right? So if you are interested, please do get in touch with us or speak to another advisor who can help you on this.
Definitely. And guys, we just want to reach out to you to please subscribe. We're so excited. We've nearly reached 1,000 subscribers. So please help us with this journey. That'll be amazing. So please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you again, Ifdi, for some more great advice today. I just wanted to put our regular reminder out there that these points may or may not be applicable to everybody. So if you're unsure if they're suitable for you, please do get in touch with a broker. And if you don't have a broker, I will leave RWS contact details below, as we are always more than happy to help. A little reminder that as a mortgage is secured against your home or property, it may be repossessed if you do not keep up with the mortgage repayments. Thank you for joining us again today. We'll be back next week with another episode of Let's Talk Money and Mortgages. Have a great day, stay safe, and we'll see you again soon.